Chance to introduce to you Ms. Sabine Kacunko. If you could please join me in a very, very warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, and yeah, I think we will have a hot session here. So, at first I'd like to introduce a little bit the background of my work. So I'm a conceptual artist, but my background is black and white photography. But as a media artist, you can believe the light is not my friend in the moment. I use the light for my work, but here maybe it's possible we switch off, then the projection would be better. So I work at the interface science, politics, and art, which is not an easy job, but it's very interesting. You learn a lot, and I start with my background, what I told before, with a black and white photography. This is my earlier work, black and white photographs. It's a real analog work. And I photograph only plants and natural objects because in that time I was thinking we get maybe lost from ourselves. We start with gene manipulating and the digital world comes. And so it's very important to reflect the process, what is going on, and like to build up the bridge to the past. And so I start to document the nature. I blow up the photos. The photos are really big. They are 2, 3, 4 meters. And I was in New York at the September 11, 2001. And at that point, the Metropolitan Museum was interested to buy work, and I had an appointment. And you can believe at that day it was impossible to have an appointment. We cross this. And I get an invitation for a dinner at that night, and there was some different people from the Metropolitan Museum, and I met scientists, and I found this very interesting. I asked, what do scientists at the museum there? And she said, oh, it's a special project. They work with the restoration people together. There are bacteria and microorganisms who on the images or on the sculptures, and they help to make the restoration for this. And I found this idea very interesting, and I was thinking that such a destructive moment, I like to create something new. And I was thinking, bacteria, this is our original, that's the background. The life is much more bigger than we little humans, what we are doing here. And so when we kill us here, each other, the life goes and moves on. And the bacteria, from the bacteria, the life is start, and it will living much more longer. So I create the idea to ask some scientists to help me by my idea to put bacteria on the negatives of my work. And this we done. Here you see the microscope. This was in the Charité in Berlin. And we put some bacteria on my negatives, and the bacteria like the gelatine. The first layer on the negative is gelatine, and that's sugar also, and the bacteria eat this and produce colors in the metabolic processes. Then they start to produce these colors. And here you see they are the creator of my new images. It's wonderful. And so you see the life moves on. So the colors are from the nature, from the bacteria, and I show this here as live streams. Sorry, here you can't see so much, the light it's really red and wonderful structures. And here you see an image that was in a museum in Korea. We have the microscope here in the Charité in Berlin. The bacteria eat the negative, yes, and we show the live process in the museum in Korea, and they create the new image. It's a live action painting, actually, yes. They compare this with Jackson Pollock or so. So I come in the process to work with bacteria. That's the background. Here you see some shot in a museum in Germany. It was a projection under or here. This was a project with Bayer Leverkusen. It's all LED with a live performance on the LED. But this project got cancelled. It was technical, not possible. It was ready, and we make a test, but the wind was so strong and destroyed the little LEDs. So that was very sad for all people. And here, that was the next step. This was a performance in Beijing. I illuminate bacteria from the desert Gobi. I found this very interesting. When you have on the desert, you think desert is died, there is no life. But a lot of life is in the desert, yes. The surface of a desert has a lot of bacteria. This is a natural biofilm. And normally the wind blow up this and the sand flow to another continents. For special from the Sahara, the red sand, you can see this in Berlin. When you have the red dust, this is the sand from the Sahara desert. And the sand transport on this way, not only the minerals from the sand corns, on the surface of the sand corn, you have also microorganisms. And this is food for the nature. This is food for the rainforest. On the way, they cross also South America, and it's food for the rainforest and also for the buildings, for the surface. So in the past, many people, or when they renovate buildings, they make a lot of mistakes when they clean up all. You know this from yourself. When you wash too much your hands, you destroy your pH. I don't know, yeah? And so it's also a problem for yourself. So my English is not so well. And the same is by buildings. This is a natural biofilm who helps to project the buildings for the pollutions. And here in this, I was thinking, okay, this is a projection for the desert. And when we go in without reflect what we're doing, and we build up and we destroy the nature, we destroy ourselves. And so here I show this in this way. It's an interactive installation. When you come in the gallery here, you move in, you get scanned by a camera, and in this moment, the image gets destroyed. The single pictures destroy, and at the end, you don't see anymore the image. And so the human, or we, destroy the nature when we go in and we don't reflect what we are doing. And you saw with this, I like to show how we are all connected together. The desert is connected with the rainforest, yeah, and the rainforest is also very important for our life and for whole the world. And here you see how I show this in the public space. I put patina, that's what I told you before, the biofilm, the natural biofilm. I took this under a microscope and do the projection directly on the building back. So you see the invisible, I do visible, yeah. So it's a living light sculpture, I can say. And for me it was important to go out of the museum and the gallery and the public space. There's no border. I come in touch directly with the audience, yes, and we can discuss directly. And so that was one important reason for me to go in the public space also. And now we slowly come to the project Life Flag, but I was thinking it's important to tell you a little bit about the background, how I come and create the bacteria ideas. For the Life Flag, I reanimate old bacteria from Alexander von Humboldt. Alexander von Humboldt, he was a very famous artist in the 18th century. And he was also living in Paris, and he traveled a lot over the world. He was a long time in Ecuador, in Mexico, he is very famous. And he was not only a scientist, he was also a great humanist. And so I was thinking it's very important to bring the focus on such a great person who is not only focused in one direction, that he also brings the science and humanity together. And so he's a great symbol for me. And Humboldt received in Paris a dust sample from the Sahara. And this dust sample we have normally here in the Natural Museum, and they give me this dust sample for my project. And we reanimate the old sand. And here you can see how strong are these bacteria. They don't die in this time. And the reason is bacteria are very tough. They communicate. On the way when they communicate, they send molecules. And the molecules, they create the biofilms. And when they communicate, they create also crystals, sugar. And sugar is important for life. And when we do here these experiments, we discover a new bacterium sequence of the ribosome who connected animals, plants, and humans. That was for me very important. So I show with this experiments that we are all connected together. Yes, we have one background. And this image, this microscope image, I took on the flag. You see the flag on the right-hand side. This was in the embassy of USA. And I go here to 90 embassies and ask, maybe you like to participate on my project and help to create and build up this idea that we are all connected and that we all together need to project our world. And it was a really good resonance. I done this in 3 months and I received 90 yes. And here you see some images. It's the Israel embassy and here's USA. This was Tanzania. And here, that's the Robert Koch Forum. In the Robert Koch Forum, it's a part of the Charité. We invite the ambassadors and they come and we celebrate together the message. And also the DNA, I forgot to explain this sequence. It was a pleasure to me. They told me, you are the explorer, so you can give the name to this bacteria. And I called this bacterium Oceanobacillus pulvirenatus. And also from the DNA, you know, the DNA, the sequences are letters like notes, A, C. I got the information before. We have some musicians here. And from this, we create a chorale. And the Humboldt School, the Humboldt University helped me and performed the chorale. And on the right-hand side, you see a young Russian lady. She's studying here in Berlin. She performs the hymn of the atom of the project, Oceanobacillus pulvirenatus. And here you see the presentation in the Robert Koch Forum with the images of the different embassies who participate. And here you see some images more how the embassies show the live flag. That's in Austria. And here I hang up the live flag in the Ministry for Foreign Affairs. And here are some more images, Lesotho. And then I was thinking how I connect all these people also. And we have here a special place in the center of, in the heart of Berlin, where we like to build up the Humboldt Forum. That's a building where we like to come in an international dialogue. It's a big museum. We'd like to build this up in the future. And I decide to use that place where we like to build up this international place for my performance. And I show the live flag here as a projection. I will show you this in some minutes. As a live stream. I get the wind from all the 90 embassies, from the airports, and I get the digital data in the internet, and I develop a special software, and we bring this together. And so the live flag get live animated from the wind, from the 90 embassies. And that was the performance here of the Humboldt flag. So I think the best is now I show you a little film, then you can see this, and it's maybe easier to understand. And to see the live flag, how it's in motion. part of the sequence. And so I have the live performance in the outdoor space and a museum show parallel where we show the crystal. And the next step, also, sorry, I forgot to tell, Egypt is for me very important because the dust sample comes from the Sahara. So I bring the dust sample back. And in Paris, that was the sense to bring the dust sample back, reanimate it back to Paris, because Humboldt received the dust sample in Paris, yes. And so I start to tell a story, how we are all connected. Yeah, all dust sample who comes in the 18th century to Italy, there they find the dust sample in Calabria. Humboldt received this in Paris. We reanimate this in Germany, and from Germany it goes back to Egypt. And after Egypt we go to Ecuador, because in Ecuador the dust sample is also what I told you before, the food for the rainforest, yes. And there is a special area, the Yasumi Park. This is a very important area. It's also cultural heritage. There is a highest biodiversity. And so this is a wonderful story for me to tell how we are connected, human, plants, and animals, and how the world, the different ecosystems. And for me as an artist, that's my mission, to build up the bridges and the dialogues, that we project this and us, this together. So that's my mission, actually, yes. So I hope it was possible to understand a little bit.